Hey, what's up, spooky fam? We have wrapped up Babysitter horror movie review week, but we're finishing off that we're gonna put a cap on that by talking about some of my horror stories. I babysat from probably the age of, I wanna say 11 to 20. So I babysat for quite a while, and I have experienced a couple of actually scary things. So if you want to hear a couple of horror stories, stick with me here. Go ahead, like and subscribe. Check out the links down below if you'd like to see any more of me or support the channel any further. But anyways, let's get into some babysitting horror stories, and I'll kind of go in chronological order from like the youngest to oldest, because things were obviously very trivial when I was a kid. And we'll start this off, I want to say I was about 11 or 12 years old, and I babysat my cousin Keely for years, probably until she was about 11 or 12. So hello Keely, if you are watching this. She's my baby and I will protect her until the day I die. But I grew up with a really bad fear of vomit. I will be honest, going through withdrawal and then immediately having cancer treatment kind of made me get over my big fear of throwing up and seeing throw up and seeing, like, you know, people puking. But when I was younger, it was really bad. So I remember one Friday night, my parents left me home alone. Our family used to bowl in a bowling league when we were growing up. So on Friday nights, my parents would go bowling and I would babysit Keely at our place. So one Friday night, we're hanging out, we're playing Monopoly, we're making scrambled eggs, and Keely looks at me and she goes, "I'm gonna throw up." And I've never been so scared in my life. That was, you know, trivial for someone who was 11 or 12 years old. So luckily my grandparents lived just a couple of houses over. So I picked her up like she was luggage and I ran her over there and I popped her down and said, "She's gonna puke, she's your problem." She never did, but me being so scared, that was literally the scariest thing to happen to me at that time in my life. So moving on, in about the 10th grade, I babysat for a woman that my parents actually met on their bowling league, and I would go to her house sometimes on a Friday night to babysit for her daughter. And her daughter literally had a meltdown because I wouldn't make her a cheeseburger at midnight, but that is a horror story in itself. I want you to picture a really nice neighborhood with a bunch of houses lined up, all open backyards, but the windows in all of the kitchens in the back of the house where the backyards are just open, and you can see out the back and it's just open field. So I don't know if someone was just happened to be walking by or knew I was there alone or had been casing the house for a while, but one night as I had put the little girl to bed, I was in the kitchen and I heard a noise and someone was trying to get into the back door, and you can see everything because it's wide open glass, and I was so scared that I went and barricaded myself in the computer room and called the people who I was babysitting for, and luckily, like, whatever happened, like, they came home immediately, and nothing serious, like no one broke in. It was just like seeing a figure in a glass window in a dark backyard. No thank you. You know what, for that I am very thankful that I live in an apartment because I don't have to experience anything scary like that. But yeah, luckily all the doors were locked. He could not get in. Thankfully he did not smash a window, but I don't know how long he was out there, how long he had been watching for, but he was trying to get in. And then the parents came home and I went home, and I don't think that I really came back after that to babysit for that family. But speaking of families, my parents met through bowling. In the 12th grade, I ended up babysitting for another family that my parents bowled with. I guess I was just a really good babysitter and they recommended me throughout the bowling league. But I ended up babysitting for a family, a husband and wife and their 2 kids. And I'm going to say the names because the story pertains to the names of the children. So the little kids' names were Dallas and Paige. And I would go on Friday nights, as I would for bowling night, you know, to babysit the kids. But I also ended up going after school, and I would babysit for the family after school. I would pick the kids up, I would bring them home, I would put them to bed before the parents got home. And speaking of bed, the little boy's room was downstairs where I would be, and the little girl's room was up a huge flight of stairs into the attic in the house, and she had her whole like huge bedroom up there. But when I first started babysitting there, the dad had let me know that the house may be haunted because they experience things in the house that aren't normal. And a few times when I was there, the kids were in bed, I was sitting in the living room, probably watching wrestling, and I would hear a little voice, a little whisper, and it sounded like the little boy Dallas was saying, "Paige, Paige," and there was nobody there. And I would go check and he would be dead asleep, and it just sounded so clear, like he was standing right at the doorway to get upstairs. And I was always so scared when that happened. I never wanted to leave the couch until they got back. I would just sit there and hope for the best. But the dad from that family ended up being really creepy and kind of predatory, so we stopped babysitting for that family. But my last babysitting job was truly a babysitting job from hell. I got offered a really awesome deal where I would go and pretty much do the same thing. I would pick up the kids after school for another family, and I would bring them home, and I would be there for a majority of the night, and then I would go back home. Sometimes I would even go at like 6 in the morning and be there till 6 p.m. And I was making really good money in the beginning, but near the end, the woman stopped paying me, and she would only give me like $20 here and there. So that's why I stopped babysitting for that family. But I was making really good money, and that's why I kind of set aside these problems. Firstly, I have 5 cats. I have a disgusting amount of cats, but I don't have carpet, and we like to think we take care of them the best we can. We don't necessarily, so the family that I babysat for had 5 cats, but she let the cats go to the bathroom on the carpet, and they never picked it up. They just kind of swept it away, or, you know, it's the smell in the apartment that I used to babysit in was so bad that I would get home and have to immediately shower the cat smell off of me. And I don't feel like that living with my cats, but it was just so bad, and it was just so deep-seated in the house that being there for such a long time made me feel so sick over time. But that was very surface level. The little boy I used to babysit for was named Damien, and he was literally like the Omen, you know? He was the worst child that I had ever babysat for. He would like get so mad at Minecraft or like a stupid video game that he would come out of his bedroom and just punch his sister right in the face. And I wasn't gonna get involved in that because I didn't, you know, I'm not gonna get clocked by this 6-year-old. So I would always wait and like let the mom know, hey, like he's been really aggressive with, you know, you might wanna do something about it. And he goes, no, he just has behavioral issues, like he'll get over it eventually. So I feel like I'm not gonna discipline someone else's child, but it was really hard to like sit by and kind of feel like I had no authority over such a young child. That felt so scary. I don't know. They feel like they can do whatever they want. Like this kid was trying to like go play out in the middle of traffic. Like that was probably the only babysitting job that I actually felt like I had no control in. That like that was a situation I lost all adult privileges and I was a full adult babysitting at that time. I was in my 20s. I was 19 to almost 21 babysitting for that family. But like I said, I was making really good money in the beginning, so like it really wasn't that much of a problem. But you know what? As an almost 30-year-old, I am very happy that I no longer have to babysit. I am very happy that I have a full-time job to make money from, and that I don't have to kind of rely on babysitting children that I'm not fond of to make money. But you know what? Honestly, babysitting was the best because you could just give the child back at the end of the day. Am I right? But that's all. I know they weren't like horror stories, but I lived it, okay? It was pretty bad. So let me know if you guys have any babysitting horror stories in the comments. I hope that you guys had fun this week. Got some DVD hauls coming, ABCs of Death 2.5 ranking, a couple of trailer reactions coming up, so please stay tuned for all of that, and I will see you very soon. Sayonara, spooky fam.